is Morgan, and I recently had my heart broken. So I did what any logical person would do.
What did you do?
I made a podcast about it.
Why?
Because no matter who you are or where you're from, when you get dumped, everybody's talking about it.
Are they, bitch?
Famously dumped.
Welcome to Famously Dumped, where this is a two-part special with Emma Willmann, where she tells us not one, but two times where she gets famously dumped, each completely different. So this is part one of Famously Dumped with Emma Willmann. Check it out. Hey guys, we're back with another episode of Famously Dumped. I'm your host, Morgan Miller, and this is the show and podcast where we talk exclusively about getting dumped. That's right, about breakups that we didn't choose, that the other person straight up dumped us. We have another great episode coming up. As always, before we start, we check in with me and my emotions and how I am feeling. And today, you guys, I am feeling loony. And that's like a fun way to say like kind of crazy and out of control. But I like loony. It feels right today. I feel a little bit loony. And that's the word we're going to use today for me. And you know I have a whole slew of emotional words that I use. So that's how I'm feeling. And we have a wonderful guest. As always, I'm super grateful to have the guests that I have today. I've known Emma for a very long time. She's an unbelievable comedian, super funny. You can see her on Turdy Works, which is on True TV, and also Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. So she's killer. And Brandon, you know what? We need to get her in here and start this bad boy.
What's going on? How you doing? You're feeling loony?
Not much. Loony, buddy. How are you feeling?
I'm doing all right. I'm gonna start. I don't know if I'm feeling loony, but yesterday I was having like an existential crisis, so I definitely get it.
Yes, it's it's the fun way to say that.
Yeah, so I say maybe I'll be like quirky, but if I say quirky, actually that means I'm like losing it.
Yeah.
So it's quirky is a cry for help because it's like you're trying to overcompensate the level of depression with a fun word. So like things have really gone soft, and I'm like I'm feeling quirky.
Yeah, same with zany. I feel like zany.
Oh, I've never had to use that word because I probably still wouldn't be walking this earth if I had to use it. Feeling zany.
Seek treatment. Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy we're going to talk about getting dumped.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we are. So before we get started, we don't use the names of our exes because we don't like to bash the exes.
Of course.
So we do a little fun thing where we find you an alias for your ex. So Brandon, pull up the slide. These are the top 10 baby names of 2019. And this is where we're going to find an alias. We're talking ex-girlfriend, correct?
Correct.
We love it. We love a gay on the show.
Yeah. I never had a bad breakup with a boyfriend just because I think my heart wasn't in it due to the gayness. But you know. But okay, I'm gonna pick. So I'm gonna tell you guys about two different stories. Let's start with we'll do Charlotte.
Charlotte?
Nope. We're gonna start with we'll do Violet.
Violet. Okay, let's just let's do both. We're gonna do some stats on them. Okay. So what are we gonna use for the other one?
Hazel.
Hazel? Great. You using colors, which I think is like fun. That's we're Violet and Hazel. Great. Cool. So now we do a little segment so we can get some quick statistics called Dump Stats.
Dump stats. These are the dump stats.
There you go. There's your baseball card.
All right.
There you go. And so now we do some dump stats.
Okay.
So let's do them. Our first question is, how many times have you been dumped?
Once, but then there were two times where the people were not interested in relationships from people I've dated, where I wanted to date them.
Great. So you've been dumped once, and I would say, I guess, rejected twice.
I'm sure I've been rejected so many more times than that. It's just that those are specific times where it's like people I was like dating, had sex with, and then I was interested in like seeing what was more, and then they weren't.
They were like, they were like, thank you, next.
Not so much. And I did not take it out. Oh boy. No. One of them is one of the stories where it was a real case study and like,
oh boy.
And that's
Juicy.
difficult.
Can't wait. Okay, so one, you've been dumped once and rejected in a way that you wanted them 2 times.
Yeah.
Great. Have you ever dumped someone?
Oh wait, I've been probably actually 3 times. And I think of it. Yes, for me dumping, I would say like 24 times. I mean, let's see, maybe like 18 to 22 times. I'd say. I don't know exactly how many girlfriends I've had.
I mean, I love that. Honestly,
what's the normal amount? How am I stats doing?
What's the normal stat of how many times people have dumped people? You're the highest. Jared Freed did say a pretty high number, but everyone else is around. We do 5 to 10 usually.
But here's the thing: I'm very charming in the beginning.
I know, me too.
I'm so charming.
I think we're very similar.
Killing it in the beginning. We're talking first 6 months. Well, it used to be like first 8 months. I'll be the best. Great girlfriend. But charming up top. I remember one time this person I broke up with she was sending me all these like letters and like notes like about like I wish we never met, blah blah blah. And my mom saw them and she was like, I can see why someone would be upset that you broke up with him. She's like, you know, it's true. You say you're going to do things and you don't recycle and you have your problems. But at the end of the day, you're very charming. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad you could see why someone would be upset that we weren't together anymore. She's like, I mean, you're frustrating, but at the end of the day, especially in smaller doses, you're very charming. And you're very sweet, but you're charming, but problematic, but charming. So I feel like she kind of summed it up.
I mean, I couldn't identify more. I feel very charming in the beginning, and then it's a slow decline into them realizing the insanity that they've gotten into. So this one, I guess with Violet, how long ago did it happen?
College. So I'm 34 now. So, I know because we just had our 10-year college reunion a year ago. 11 years.
11 years. Okay, great. And how long ago for Hazel?
Okay, that was like 6 years ago. I don't know how to do the math on that.
Great.
Or I guess I don't need to. Yes, about 6 years.
6 years. Great. And then how long were you with each of these women?
Okay, so Violet was 2 years. One of them was on and off. So one of them was one of the years she did a study abroad. So we were like long distance. Okay. Although, she didn't go abroad. It was a study, a domestic study, but they called it was part of the study abroad program. But so it was like she was in Oakland and I was in Boston. So we did, it was long distance.
Coastal long distance.
Coastal, yeah.
Coastal. And then Hazel, how long were you?
We were dating. We were together on and off, I think, for 6 months, I would say.
6 months. Okay, so shorter, but still traumatic.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, great.
They were both pretty traumatic. The first one was really traumatic because I was so we're still like friends. She's just such a wonderful person. The first one I was with.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll get into it. How old were you when each of these happened? So one was college, so...
I'd say we started dating when I was a sophomore. And so what is that? Like, I was definitely 21, or was it just because I had a fake ID? I'd say it was like 21 to 22. And then the other one was, I'd say like 27.
Great. Cool.
Maybe 28. No, 28, I would say about that.
Great. Just starting your Saturn return.
And
good to know. It's good to know.
Good to know.
Great. And then how are you feeling emotionally about each of those breakups today?
Okay, today. Okay, great. I'm glad that you prepped. Today, like very much at peace with the first one, and she had a great line in it because the breakup was very long. Like I remember the one time this guy said to me, he's like, lesbians, you guys are, and this is like broad strokes of generalization. He was like, you guys are always, just like, you never break up. You're always processing the breakup. So if someone doesn't stop the processing, you guys will just process forever. So we were like processing the breakup for quite a while, which of course leads to like getting back together and breaking up and But so that I was just like, now looking back, I can see where I'm like, okay, that was just really, really hard. And I was devastated and it was pretty standard. The other one, kind of embarrassed. Like it's embarrassing on my end how bad I'm embarrassed to this day about how I handled it. Did not handle it well.
Okay, all right, great. Well, we're gonna figure that out. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the first one, you're pretty at peace, and the other one, embarrassed.
It's not. The other one was really immature and embarrassed and like kind of crazy.
Great. Okay, so then that leads to our final dump stat question, which is a good one. Did you go full psycho?
On the second one, absolutely 100%. Yes.
And the first one?
Didn't go psycho, no.
Didn't go psycho on that one. Okay, great. Awesome. So those are your dump stats. Amazing. Just to recap, so we're talking about Violet and Hazel. You have been dumped once, but rejected a couple times with people that you really wanted.
Yes.
You've dumped around 24 people,
but
18 to 22 is what you said. For these relationships with Violet, this happened 11 years ago. The other one happened 6 years ago. You were together 2 years with the college one and 6 months with the more recent one. You were 21 with the first one and 28 with the second one. And then you're at peace with the one that was a long time ago. You're embarrassed with the most recent one. And you went full psycho for the 6-monther and you didn't for the 2-year college one. Yeah?
Yes.
There we go. All right. Those are dump stats. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. We just want a very quick how you met and what the relationship was like. And then we really want to get to how you handled being dumped.
Okay. So for the first one, it was in college and it was my second girlfriend I ever had. Right when I got to college, I had this wonderful girlfriend. She was so great, kind of androgynous. All right. And she was such a good girlfriend. Just a side note, she always used to make me grilled cheese. She was just like a wonderful person. And then I saw the person who became my next girlfriend. And I remember seeing her and going, wow, that girl's beautiful. And they go, oh yeah, she used to date this other woman. I go, she's gay. And it was like the first time I saw a feminine lesbian. I just couldn't believe it. She's 2 years older than me. And Facebook was just kind of happening. So I would see her be like, I'm in the cafe. And then I'd be like, ooh, I'm going to go get a coffee. So I was running into her and then we took a class together. We started studying a lot. I cheated on my first girlfriend with this other girlfriend. So we met because we were together in college. And then I had apologized to the first girlfriend and like we processed that. But the second one was in the second girlfriend I ever had was in college. The other girl I'm talking about, we met on OkCupid. Now, I was also in a relationship when I met her, and I was in this really crazy relationship where we were always breaking up and getting back together, but I like kind of kept my OkCupid account active. She found me on OkCupid. I had invited the second girl to a show in Boston. The other girl lived in Boston while I was in New York. I invited her to a show in Boston. My girlfriend at the time was like, what are you doing on OkCupid? I was like, I'm just promoting shows. And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the show that it seems like you're talking to this girl about. And I was like, no. I don't know why or how I thought I could pull this off. I'm at my show. And I told them that each of the shows started at different times. So
God.
I told the girl I was actually wanting to meet that it started at 8. And then I told my girlfriend it started at like 10. Now here was a screw up. My girlfriend came way fucking early because she knew something was amiss. And then the girl who I ended up having all these problems with, she shows up really late and they walk in the door, Morgan, at the same damn time. Oof.
No.
So the meeting with that other girl who I had the bad breakup with, where I went psycho, the meeting was rocky. Because first of all, she's like super late. She walks in the door and then I'm like, oh, hi. And I'm like, this is my girlfriend. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she was like, oh, you didn't tell me you had a girlfriend. Yeah. And so, and then I remember then she watched the show and it was actually like a good show, but I was like so stressed out the whole time. And then I would like texted her afterwards, like, again, I'm sorry about that. And then we didn't talk for a little bit, but like, yeah.
Wow.
So that's how I met the two of them, college and then online.
Got it. But both you were dating someone when you met them.
Correct.
Yeah. Do you identify, some people call me a fuckboy and I don't like that, but
you know, what can I, it's no, I mean, like, I really am working on it. I'm truly working on it.
Same. I feel same energy.
Yeah. I repent, it's a work in progress. I really, I'm trying.
Yes, we all are. We're doing our best. Yeah. We're doing it. And honestly, I think we're thriving right now.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Trying.
Great.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. So let's do it. How did you get dumped, and what happened, and how did you handle it?
Whoa, hold on 1 second. My name's Morgan Miller. You've just been watching me this whole time. I'm the host of Famously Dumped, and I've got a couple of things I gotta tell you before we finish up the episode. One, we have an email account, famouslydumped@gmail.com, where you can email me. Maybe you have comments, questions for our guests, questions for me. Maybe you have advice for our listeners, or maybe you have a story about getting dumped that you want to tell me about. So please email me there. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll put it on the podcast. Two, you can donate to the show, which is great. How can you donate? At our Venmo, which is famously_dumped, or you can go on over to my Patreon account, which is patreon.com/MorganMiller1717. Over on my Patreon will live bonus episodes, uncut episodes, and other comedy material that I'm coming out with that will strictly be on Patreon, okay? So head on over there. And finally, don't forget to follow me on social media. Yes, I'm doing a social media plug. Come on, it's 2021. Let's get to it. My social media is Morgan Miller 17 across the board. And also, I'm on TikTok. Yes, I'm in my 30s. I have TikTok. I kind of blew up over there. So go check me out. That's Morgan Miller Talks, TOKS. And that's about it. You guys, let's get back to the episode. Enough for me. Bring us on back.
Okay, so the first one, what happened was, oh, this sucked. I'm kind of just remembering it now. Ooh, I kind of forgot this piece to it. Okay, so when the first girl went away to that program in Oakland, now she's mixed, she's a woman of color, mixed race, and she was starting to get really into activism, mixed race activism and colorism. And I remember telling her, and she'd grown up with all white people, and she was starting to be like, I really want to like learn more. And I was like, well, maybe I found this like queer woman of color group in Oakland. I was like, this could be great. And then they can support you in ways that I can't even, where I've like, don't. And I remember I was taking anti-racist classes to learn about myself in that. And both of us had this moment where we were both like, oh my God, white people are the devil. Now, later when we processed that, we were like, okay, that was like stage one of us realizing all that stuff. And like, we went kind of, that wasn't really productive of either of us, but she was like, I hate white people. And I was like, me too, but where do we stand? And so that was complicated. So she finds this organization. I'm like, this is great. And when I would come out to visit her, we had a dinner. And I met the president of that organization, who was this gorgeous but butch woman. And I met her and I went, oh, fuck. And the second I saw her, I'm like, oh, you guys would look great together. I didn't say that to her, but I was like, who's that? And she goes, oh, it's da-da-da. And I was like, right. And the girl like saunters over. She's like, oh, this is your girl? She's like, all right, what's up? I'm like, how you doing?
Sizing me up.
Sizing me up. So right away, I'm like, I get a bad feeling, but this is a girl. And my girlfriend was like, yeah, we're in love. Like, don't even think about it. Okay, fine. So then she starts getting really involved in the organization. I'm like, this is great. But what that girl up to? They do a overnight. Now at this point, I remember being like, I just knew something was going on, and I didn't hear from her for like 3 days. And then she's like, oh, I ended up spending the night at that girl's house. And I was like, we need to break up. Like, what are we doing? She was like, no, let's stay together. And I was like, we're going to break up. So the very first time I broke up, and I flipped out. I'm like on MySpace, like trying to see if they're writing each other messages on each other's walls, really upset. But then she was like, end up getting back together. We're together for a while. And she comes to visit me in Boston. And then I remember she was just like, she was like, I can't do it. And I was really crushed. I was really crushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happened?
I was devastated. I mean, we ended up doing the thing where we would like get back together on and off. And it was just like really, and she was like pretty much like, she didn't want a relationship, but I had such a hard time processing. I think that it wasn't on my terms. Like now that I've learned more about myself, I see that I was like, I didn't know. I felt so like, just there was all the reasons to break up too, where it was like, okay, we're living in different, she's staying in California. We want different things out of life. I remember we both really wanted different, and that was very clear in a very respectful way. Like she was like, I want to live in like a commune and be like a socialist librarian. And at the time I was like, I want to get into advertising. I mean, talk about, totally going for different things.
Yeah.
And so logically, the breakup made sense. And she actually did it, minus the thing with the girl in that group. She did it in a great way. But I was so crushed, and I remember just crying in the shower and thinking, I never want to feel this hurt again. And I don't want to get myself that so enmeshed in someone where I could feel this amount of hurt. And I was so upset. And then I started seeing other people, and it was pretty rocky at first. At that point, I'd only like had sex with like, I guess 2 or 3 women. And I remember like I remember being in the library, like upset about the breakup, and then going over to this girl's house. I don't know how I finagled that, because I was literally in the library, like, and she was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "I'm not doing well because of Bubba." And she was like, "You want to come over for dinner?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I couldn't have sex with her. I remember I got really upset. I was like, "I can't do it. I miss blah blah blah." And then I called my ex and was like, "I was about to have sex with someone." Oh no! And she was like, "Emma, go do it." She was like, "I'm with someone else," and I was like, "Ah!" So that was just kind of a mess. But then she actually was like, "Do you want to try getting back together?" I said, "Yeah." And she was going to come visit, but I had started seeing someone else, going on dates, another person named Emma, who was an awesome person, but we just were going
crazy.
I know, but we were totally different. She was from Rwanda. Like, it was like, I'm from Maine. It was very different, so I wasn't dating the same Emma.
Sure.
Not that, but so then she was going to come visit me, and she was like, "Before I get on this plane, I need to know that you're going to be there at the airport." I didn't text her back. I was at a movie with Emma. And then when we talked, I said, "I'm so profoundly sorry." Now, she really did do the breakup though. Like, when we were going to come back and hang out, it was just like hang out and hook up. But she was like, "I don't want a relationship." So but she said this line that I think is really good. She was like, "That was really immature of you, but I also know you. And I know if you had the skills to do it differently at this point in your life, you would have." And then she took the lead and said, "I think we shouldn't talk for a year. And I love you and I respect you. And then let's touch base." Wow. And she put that boundary in place, and it's just so incredible that she did. And then we both maybe texted a little bit. I remember her texting me like, "I'm really sad," and that like was like crushing. But other than that, we kept our space, and just I have just the utmost respect for her. She's just a great person.
Wow. So that made the breakup probably, devastating, but easier since she set a boundary. And
Absolutely.
Then how long did it take you to get over that? And as we're saying, a lot of processing happening with us lesbians. So how long did it take you, and what helped get past that, since you were so devastated?
Such a good question. I think it was dating again helped. And then dating. I think dating actually really did help with that, to kind of distract me. And then I had a great group of friends in college, so that really, really helped too. A breakup, there's something about college. I feel very lucky enough that I had such a great college situation. So I think friends helped with that. It also helped that she was not in the same city. That would have been crushing. It was really upsetting where I'd be like, "Oh, we used to go here and we used to go there." But that she wasn't there and I didn't have to then like see her around was also really helpful. And then just time. It took a while though. Like, I think I was like still really in love with her for like 3 or 4 years after we broke up. And I would like check on her Facebook, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So time, dating.
Definitely time. Yeah. Time. And also then the awareness of we would have broken up anyway. I think it was the distance made it. The distance, like, we fully got to explore what a relationship together was, how it worked, where it wouldn't have worked. And I think that because of the distance, it helped the illusion of that we would have kept dating longer. But we wanted such different things out of life that I think if we had been together sooner, we would have realized it wasn't right. But then kind of like really looking at it like, okay, there's no way that we could have worked.
Yeah.
So trying to take emotion out of it helps.
And then see on paper, hindsight was never ever going to work. I've had to do a lot of pro-con lists about my ex and seeing like, it wouldn't have worked out. But when you're in it, you're like, we can get through everything together. We'll fight all these battles together. But
Also, it seems like, from just the little bit I got on yours, it seems like you were really sideswiped by it too. I think that is so hard.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
It just sucks when the person's if the person's very unpredictable and you're like, "Oh, I didn't," makes it so hard. Cause then it makes you start, it's not gaslighting, but it makes you feel like you're crazy because you're like, wait a minute, but this and this, and then it just also takes a long time to get to know people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yes. I then also look back at it and I'm like, there were a lot of problems. We were in couples therapy at the end. Like things weren't amazing, but we had made a commitment together to get through whatever we were going to get through. And then I did get sideswiped and I was like, whoa, I thought we kind of made a deal that, and like we had talked about marriage and kids and this was it. And we were so glad we never had to date again. And that all that's promises and stuff saying like that, but those are also warning. It's like, why are we so obsessed with talking about that? True. So so looking back, and also my this is crazy, but my therapist, when we broke up, she was like, I was so devastated. I was so fucked. I was really fucked up. I went full psycho.
But also you were new to, I don't know if you're talking about this, but you were new to like not incorporating alcohol into your life too.
Yes. This is my second relationship, but first serious one in sobriety.
Which is a test. And that is tough. The second one that I'll tell you about, I actually relapsed like right around that. I think I relapsed like 3 times because of that one.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
It was all on me that I did that, but
it's, I was close. I was really, really close. And but then my therapist was like, you were talking about breaking up with her in our sessions a lot. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, you had expressed that. And I guess it was like, I talked about it, but I would have never done it. So totally. I am in a place, it's been like a while. I am grateful that it happened. I'm still real fucked up about it in the same way that I'm like, I don't ever want to be that attached to someone to feel this amount of pain. You know, I identify with that like fully. Totally. I'm getting over that and being like, love isn't real and all of it's stupid and I'm just going to date whoever and fuck a 23-year-old in Minneapolis when she comes to visit me in an Airbnb 2 weeks ago.
Whatever works.
So that's where I am.
Screech. Hey guys, my own voice again. Should I do voiceover? Anyways, that's the end of part 1 with Emma Willmann. And as you can hear, the next story is absolutely psychotic. So you're going to want to come in and tune in and listen to that one, a part 2 with Emma Willmann. So y'all, to be continued on the next episode of Famously Dumped with Emma Willmann.
Famously dumped.